welcome back to music class. Today is a really exciting day. I am going to share with you a few of my favorite instruments. There are a lot of instruments out there in the world, hundreds, probably thousands of different instruments. So I chose my very favorites that I had around to show you today. I can't wait. Let's dive in. First up is the kalimba. The kalimba is also called the thumb piano because these are like little keys and you pluck them with your thumb to play it. This instrument is from South Africa. This one was even made in South Africa. That's where it comes from. It's part of the percussion family. Instruments that are struck, scraped, or shaken are all part of the percussion family. And this is also considered a lamellophone. A lamellophone is another category of instrument where there are metal tongues that you pluck. So, how to play the kalimba is really quite simple. You have it facing you, and I'm holding it with my thumbs out, kind of like I'm texting on a phone or something, doing a calculator, right? Doing your math homework. And I put my thumbs on the edge of the tines and then I pluck down. Each one of these tines is a different length and that makes it a different pitch, a different note. So that's how I can have all these different notes. This instrument also has a sound hole just like a guitar or a ukulele has, and that helps make the sound echoey and makes it ring out, sound nice and pretty, not like it's just a box. Here is an example of me playing a little tune that I made up on the kalimba. The reason that I picked kalimba to share with you today and why it's one of my favorite instruments is because it's a nice, simple instrument. It's not hard to figure out. You just pluck it with your thumbs. And it's nice and small. Also, a lot of instruments can get kind of expensive, pretty pricey, but you can get a nice kalimba on Amazon for only around $30. Up next is the accordion. The accordion is a German instrument. It was invented in the 1800s in Berlin, Germany. And it is an instrument that looks like there's a piano on one side and then a bunch of buttons on the other side. This instrument is not a percussion instrument like piano is, even though it looks like there's a piano here. But this is a wind instrument, also called an aerophone. And that might be kind of confusing because I'm not going to blow into this instrument when I play it, but it's classified as an aerophone or a wind instrument because it uses air to play through the bellow. When I play this accordion, I'm stretching it out and in. The bellow stretches in and out, and it acts like a pair of lungs, filling up with air as they stretch out, and then when they go back in, it's like they blow out that air. So I'm going to play for you now. Now this accordion does need some repairs on the key part, so I'm going to show you some playing on the bass buttons over here. things I like so much about this instrument is that even though we recognize the sound a lot and we hear the sound a lot, it's not very common to see an accordion. I'm sure some of you maybe have never seen an accordion in real life. And they're really pretty. There's a lot of detail on this one, especially in the keys here. I just think it's so beautiful. It's also very heavy, so that's why I'm sitting down to play it. And it straps on the front of me with these loops. It's just like I'm wearing a backpack, but on the front of me. And I can't put anything in it because there's an accordion here. Another reason why I like the accordion so much is that accordions are famous all over the world. Each culture has made the accordion their own in their own way. South America uses accordion in their music, in their own style. So does Asia, all around Asia. So does North America, of course, and all throughout Europe. And they all use it in a little bit of a different way. So I think that's really cool that the world can take one instrument and just really be so creative and cool with it. Next up is the snare drum. Yay! The snare drum is part of the percussion family, just like any drum is. And this is also classified as a membranophone. Remember, a membranophone is an instrument that has something stretched across. So on this drum, we have the head on the top and the head on the bottom that's being stretched across, and that is what is going to do the vibrating. I like snare drum a lot because it has so many different places that it can be played. You can play a snare drum just by itself, solo. You can have a snare drum that's part of a drum set. You can play snare drum in a drum line or marching band. There's just so much that you can do with this one instrument. You can see it so many different places. So parts of the snare drum include the head. That's the surface that you drum on with your drumsticks. Then we have the rim. Goes all the way around. And this is actually the hoop that inside here that holds everything together. These are called lugs, and we tighten these to make sure that, like I said, everything stays together. Then we have the bottom head stretched across, and these are called the snares. This is why it's called a snare drum. The snares were originally made out of animal guts. Yeah, I know that's really gross, but it's true. They would dry out guts from animals and stretch it on the bottom head. And this is what makes the snare drum unique to other drums, because the sound of the snares make it nice and crispy. And it sounds really cool. Let's play something. Let's see how it sounds. The next instrument we're going to take a look at is the piano. I've been playing the piano since I was 9 years old, so that's been a long time. And I really love to play the piano because you can play so many different songs on it. Even the piano that we have at school, technically a keyboard because it's electronic, there's so many different sounds that you can get out of keyboards. The instrument that we're going to take a look at now is a piano. So no fancy sounds, and this is a percussion instrument, technically, a lot of people say, because there are hammers inside of the instrument. And it's also considered a chordophone because there are strings that those hammers hit inside the instrument. This is all kind of too crazy for you to picture. you don't need to picture it because we're gonna take a look inside a piano right now. Here we go. Here we go. Opening it up. Wow. Our piano at school would not look like this. It would just have a lot of wires and technology stuff. But you can see these are the hammers. They do not look like hammers that you would use to put a nail in the wall. These are felt hammers. So this part is very soft, very, very soft. And then over here, these are the strings. So those are the strings or wires that the hammers hit down and it bounces off, and that's what makes the sound. Let's take a look. Over there. So cool. Now let's see if I play more than one note. This is what I'm doing with my hands. And it looks like that. Awesome! That was so fun. I always wanted to do that to my piano. Next, I'm gonna play you a little something on piano. Like I said, this is probably my favorite instrument of all time because I've been playing it for so long. It's just something I do to relax. And my favorite thing to play on piano is kind of jazzy stuff. So I'm gonna play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but kind of in a little jazzed up kind of version. Last but not least, we are going to take a look at the instrument, the marimba. The marimba is very similar to what you see in music class towards the back of the room. It's the mallet instruments that we play from time to time. The marimba is an African instrument, just like the kalimba is. Marimba, kalimba, two very similar words. Actually, if we break down the word imba, I-M-B-A, in the African language of Swahili, means song. So it's very fitting that both of these African instruments have song in their names. Let's take a look at the marimba I have here. Spoiler alert, it's a lot bigger than the one we have in music class. Let's check it out. So this is a marimba. It's a lot bigger than what we see at school, but both are still the same instrument. Marimbas come in different sizes. So this marimba is made out of a material called rosewood. It's the type of wood. And these are the bars. This is what you would play on with a mallet. Just like in class, we know that we hit the center of the bar to get the best sound. Marimbas are set up exactly like pianos are, which a lot of people don't realize. So if you can imagine, all of the bars here are the white keys, and up there, all the bars are the black keys. And it's set up the exact same way. So if you can play a piano, then I bet you can play something on the marimba. One of the reasons why I like marimba so much is that there's so many different awesome pieces of music that you can play on it. And there's different ways to play it. You can play a song with one mallet in each hand. You can play a song with 2 mallets in each hand. This is called 4-mallet. And there's so many different genres of songs that you can play. There's classical, pop music, contemporary music, and the instrument is big enough where you can play a duet. That means where there's 2 people playing at the same time. Here's me and Mr. Bushy having fun. Well, I had a blast going through all of my favorite instruments that I have around the house here with you, and maybe teaching you something new about a few of them. Some of my favorite instruments that I don't have in my house is cello, string instrument that you sit down to play. And I also love the vibraphone. A vibraphone is basically the same thing as a marimba, but instead of wooden keys, it has metal keys. So it sounds a little bit different, a little bit more ringy. I hope this video has inspired you to think about what your favorite instrument is. If you have one in mind, let me know, email me so that we can talk about what our favorites are. And maybe some of you even want to try to play one of these instruments or your favorite instrument. Whatever it is, keep on learning, keep on playing, keep on singing, and I'll see you soon.